Welcome back to the basement. I'm Steve Lewis. Today I'm proud to be presenting part 2 of my recent talk with Steve Kalinich. We resume with a discussion of the song Child of Winter, which of course Stephen co-wrote with Brian Wilson. I think most viewers of the channel will be familiar with the 1974 Beach Boys original single, which featured Steve Kalinich on kazoo. You might be a little less familiar with the 2010 recording credited to Rachel and the Reindeers, which can be found among other places on the album California Feeling, featuring the words and music of Stephen Kalinich and friends. This version also features Steve Kalinich, and there is a great video for the Rachel and the Reindeers version, which you can find here on YouTube. It features, among many others, Stephen Kalinich and former Beach Boy David Marks. I can only describe the video as joyous, and there's no better way to enjoy the track. So without further ado, we resume with Stephen Kalinich.
I wanted to ask you too, and I know you told me a little bit about it, the Child of Winter single. And if I could just give you a little bit of my experience with this thing, because I started really getting interested in the Beach Boys in 1980. And at that time, the most difficult by some lengths record release to find was Child of Winter. And I saw that you had co-written it. And I knew it was the first studio record they'd done after Holland. And with this title, Child of Winter, and with you having written it, I expected it would be this ethereal, otherworldly kind of recording. And I finally found the record, and it was not what I expected. I mean, I really enjoy it now as sort of a kid's record, sort of a Yuletide Yellow Submarine kind of thing. But I wanted to ask you about that. I had assumed that it had kind of been improvised in the studio, but you say that that's not so, right?
I wrote the lyrics first. What I improvised was my kazoo solo.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's me, yeah.
And Brian
And
contacted you wanting to do a Christmas record? Is that how that happened, or?
We were working together, hanging out all the time.
Okay.
I think the first one, and it was maybe the time of California Feeling.
Yeah, I wondered if those were around the same time.
Different times, because the first record was Dennis, mostly me and Dennis.
Right.
Little Bird and Be Still. That
Right.
was, oh, I love those songs. They were so
Yeah.
magical. But Brian wrote the bridge and never admitted it, but now he does.
Yeah.
wrote that.
Yeah, you mentioned that. I thought that was very interesting.
But I want to say, I understand your viewpoint, but to me, when you say simple, I think it's one of the most complex in the sense, because if you notice, they're playing right. A child of winter, a child of summer, that's that time of life, and the joy in getting children together. It's really for adults and children, but it sounds for more children. And also on the first record, I have Carney and Wendy, 6 years old.
Right.
And the next one, on the Rachel record, I have all the kids, Wendy and Carney's kids singing the backgrounds. I think the boys didn't, but I had like Wendy. I think even I got Delaney and Daria on a couple of tracks. I don't know about the little ones, but I had Brian's kids on the second one with Rachel, and Alan Boyd helped me a lot with that.
I love the video for the Rachel and the Reindeers version.
Alan Boyd is responsible for that a lot. But I thought that was a fun record. God, we loved it. There was a lot of joy in that record. In the studio, there was not the chaos you see in all the later crazy stuff. It was like it was a community type of record.
Yeah, no, it comes through. It comes through. It was just different from what I expected.
Yeah, I could understand it, because mostly people used to me some heavy galactic.
Yeah.
I try to sometimes go against that.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. It's cool to see. It was cool to see that facet.
I'm glad, but some people want only serious, some people want fun, but I think that was a lot of joy. And I think Boyd did. I think that patchwork video is wonderful. He did a wonderful job.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
But that showed the side of Brian that he had then, and it's harder for him to express that now. That joy, that childlike joy. At that time, he could go in with me and like that. I love all sides of them, but that side, and I think still in there somewhere. I like to see, because the real act of life is not fame or is joy, and life is a gift. That's what I think. Now, that's up to your choice, but I'm not saying there's not struggles and stuff, but ultimately we can't hold on to anything, right? That we know of. Whatever it is, we don't even know what it might be. But when we're in the now, it'd be good to find some joy.
Absolutely.
Something to give you, excite you, and even now, till any age. Look at, I'm 80, I'm still going. And when I had the heart surgery, like when I was 50s, they gave me like a half hour to live, and I'm still every day, every second is a gift for me.
Yeah.
And I like to some of my music and poetry. Some of it is serious, but I'd like to know that it's coming from the joy, even when things break up and the galaxies collide and explode.
Well, you're certainly still doing great work. And speaking of which, kind of recently, the Scrambled Egg album, I wanted to ask you about a little bit. Your singing is really quite phenomenal on this. I really enjoyed it. And these cards that came with it are great.
Yeah, my painting. Those are my new paintings.
Yeah, those are really
I'm glad you got them.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give credit to John Tiven, my co-producer and partner. We're Yo Mama, me and him, and Carol, who owns my record company, Miss Music. Oh, she didn't do that record. That one is Shannon Pollard, who was a wonderful friend of mine. And he played on my new record too. And he is Eddie Arnold's grandson.
Oh, really?
So I love Shannon. He's the sweetest guy. So he told John, we put it out on that label. And that was a fun record. I had duets with Frank Black, as you can see, Dylan LeBlanc,
Bramlett,
and that. Yeah,
Darren
just
Holloway.
a whole fun. Oh yeah. Oh, and that was a great song. Johnny's Got a Quarter. I mean, I've been so blessed. Frank Black of the Pixies, Brian May from Queen. It's been amazing experience with all these guys, and I'm so grateful.
I expected the lyrics to be great, and they certainly were. And the music, it does what I like in an album. It's got an overall feel, but within it, the tracks are individual enough that each one stands on its own.
John likes my singing, and Frank liked it, and a lot of good singers. And this new album we're doing, which you haven't asked yet because you don't know, it's coming out. I think it's going to be called Bluish.
Okay.
And John produced it, and this one will be on Carol's label. We're Miss Music, and I have the good fortune, I guess I can say, and the executive producer of that, who I asked because he likes it. It's a different style than World of Peace. Then instead of singing, I'm doing a different, like more talk singing, but I don't know what you call it. But the executive producer has got a lot of input and help, Andrew Lou Goldham.
Oh, really?
He's
Wow.
On my new record. And he's a lovely guy, and he's helping with a lot of the decisions. I'm honored. And I'm honored to get all these people on the record.
That's fantastic.
Steve Cropper become a really good buddy.
Yeah.
And I hope I'm allowed to say this, but Steve Cropper and I have talked. I don't know if you're supposed to say it, but I'm sure he'll forgive me. I'm 80. We talked, and Steve came up with the idea. He said, maybe someday we can do a spoken Dock of the Bay with me doing the spoken.
Oh, I'd love to hear that.
I'm gonna, if he said he's serious, and hopefully that we will do something like that.
I would think the lyric would really lend itself to that.
I'm such a fan of his in Nashville. I've been very fortunate. Everyone was kind to me. B.B. Buell was kind to me. I played the Bluebird, and she let me do a poem. And Steven Tyler was there that night, and Tiffany was there, and all kind of people. Crystal Gale and I, man, did we hit it off. I just love her. And we had a night at the what's the name of that?
The Bluebird?
Yeah, on that street, yeah.
Yeah, in that little strip mall, right?
Steven Tyler came up and he said, you had the whole audience in your hand. I love him. But so that I've had some of these incredible experiences, so many sweet people.
Any idea when Bluish might be out?
Hopefully next year or late this year.
Also, I wanted to say that not only are you a good singer, you're quite a rapper on Stevie Nobody.
Oh, my name is Stephen. Yeah. Let me see that one. Stevie, is that the one? My name is Stephen, but I'm not Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, by MC Kalinich.
That one was done with Chris Pelser. Was my co-partner, and that's just an idea of my name is Stephen, but I'm not Steven Spielberg. My name is Stephen, and I'm not Stephen King. I'm not Steve Martin. I'm not Stevie Nicks. I'm not Stevie anything. Stevie Nobody. But the point is, I wasn't saying I'm a nobody. At the end, I was saying, but everybody is a somebody. People say, oh, you don't have a good self-image. That was not my point. My point was that underneath it all, everybody, I want to try and see what your story is. That's why I'm so fascinated by the homeless for all these years, wanting to do something. I talk to the guys when I go to the beach now, unless it feels unsafe. And I've tried to do charities with a group called The Tribe and Wild Honey to help different causes for people, autism or cancer or the homeless. And Ken Kraft builds those little houses downtown. I've worked with him, and I just love contributing to that consciousness. One of my favorite songs is, and I did a version with If You Knew. It hasn't come out officially because I would need a release. And John Densmore told me, John Densmore and I are talking about doing a couple of tracks together. He's a lovely guy. And we talk. And I'm just thinking it's great for Be Open. I'm hardly known. That's why I came with Stevie Nobody, but some people know me. But what I'm saying is I like that idea of that everybody's a somebody. So there is no Stevie Nobody. That was the point.
Yeah, no, I think it came across. It certainly did for me. I heard it that way.
Did anyone ever send you a demo of the Fame game?
No.
That never got released. I'll send that too. That's another Chris. But John Tiven and I have written, he'll tell you, maybe 1,500 songs together over the last 8-10 years. And I met him with P.F. Sloan. We went to India together, the three of us. And Creed Bratton was going to go with us from the office. He was supposed to go to India with us, but he canceled because he started that show, and that helped him a lot. I'm not close with Creed. He was close with Phil and other people, but he seemed like a sweet guy. But John Tiven's a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
I just have so many friends. I'm grateful. And Carney and Wendy and Brian's kids, and I call them the new kids, but his second family, all those kids, and Wendy, Lola, Lucy, oh my God, Will, all the kids of Carney and Wendy and Marilyn's kids, I love them all. Yeah. They're like really been sweet to me.
That's great.
Any like important last questions?
I did want to ask you about California Feeling.
But next time, let's go into detail of California Feeling. It's too long.
Okay.
Got a long story on it. But let me basically say that I came here, I never saw oranges growing on a tree that you could eat. So that line, look at the orange groves, taste the grapefruit, feel that I was walking down the beach. I mean, that really captures it. And I had a concept that I took to Disney, Michael Eisner, California Feelin'. I took the G off, if you notice, on that song.
Yes, I noticed.
Al Jardine's done a version, Al's done a version, Ellen, and then I have a longer poem of it, which maybe, if you want me one time to do on the air, I could do it.
Oh, that'd be great.
And I haven't put music to it yet, but so I came up with this concept. I came up with California Feeling. It wasn't a Brian. I came up with that, but they were already doing California stuff, California.
Sure.
Mine was the consciousness of you, when you came to California. I'm not talking about this homeless and all that I write about that, as you know, in my other articles.
Right.
And the hope that you can do things, that you can break through barriers, that you can achieve things. Maybe it shouldn't always be tied to materiality, but it could be consciousness to help the helpless, to feed the people, to somehow broaden the view of consciousness. It's not impossible. Will it ever happen in that kind of world? Maybe not, but we can make it better. I really believe it. But also there's a lot of other forces of destruction, and you have to be aware. That's where P.F. Sloan, maybe the next time we can go into that stuff.
But thanks so much. I mean, this has been so interesting, and it's really been just delightful to talk to you. It's really been an honor.
And next time I'll tell you about Paul Steele.
Oh, great. I'd love to hear more about Paul.
I love those guys, and I love Martin. I met so many great artists through them.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
God bless you, and thank you for
very much. God bless you.
Thanks. Blessings to all your audience. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Bye.
So that concluded our talk. I'm very hopeful we'll have a chance to follow up sometime. Love to find out more about California Feelin' and other Beach Boy related projects, also about P.F. Sloan and about the very talented Paul Steele. Stephen Kalinich appears on the title cut of Paul's album Carousel Kites. You can also find a very interesting video here on YouTube of them working on their co-composition Ocean. Also like to thank again Paul's dad, Martin Steele, for the introduction, and of course very much to Stephen Kalinich for being so generous with his time and for the fascinating conversation. Thanks very much. We'll see you next time. Bye.